That was beautiful. And that was probably the most unusual opening we've ever had for the Just Kidding Around show. My name is Diane Miller, and I'm sitting next to
Mark Mukunda.
Mark Mukunda, is it? Did I pronounce that right? And I want to thank you for bringing your talent here, Mark. This is, should I say, an unusual talent?
Yes, maybe more eclectic talent.
Kind of eclectic. So how long have you been playing the didgeridoo?
Almost 10 years.
Oh, and you know what? We didn't introduce the instrument, actually, did we? This was a didgeridoo that he's playing. This is, and I doubt that you can see this, but this has inlay in it. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a work of art. It really is, the instrument itself. And you said you've been playing it for 10 years? Mm-hmm. Is your first didgeridoo here in the room with us?
No, it's not.
Okay.
And that didn't actually last. Because I found it was actually difficult, the very first one I had. And luckily I persevered. And today I'm still playing didgeridoo. So I had to trade in that one that wasn't really working too well. Yeah.
So each one has a different feel to it?
Everyone plays differently. Every single didgeridoo has a unique sound.
So if a person tries playing didgeridoo and they're not successful, they might want to, like you say, persevere and try other ones because they have different feels to them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In fact, I made the first successful didgeridoo out of PVC pipe.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I got it at the hardware store.
I just happen to have some here. I don't know if we're ready to go on to this, but maybe later in the show, could you show us a little something about this?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. So your first successful one was piping similar to this?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Paid about $3, I think,
Is that
for
right?
it. Yeah.
This one's a little wet because I thought maybe it had some spiders in it, so I washed it right before the show. I'll put that right there. So each one of these around us have a different sound, you say?
Yes.
And
they're all made of different type of wood.
So it's the wood that makes the difference in the sound? How about the size of the diameter? Does that make any difference?
The wood makes a big difference for its resonance.
You mean the type of
how
wood?
thin it is, how thick it is.
Okay.
You know, how heavy it is.
How about how long? How long?
Definitely. How long and how short it
short.
makes a big difference. If it's really short, it tends to have a higher pitch. And they tend to be really hard to play. And
the short ones are harder one to play?
They tend to be very short. In fact, we have a really short one here, which I've never played, but I imagine it's really hard to play.
Oh, that's kind of funny, really.
Yeah.
Because I own that one, and I own this one, and I'm not very good. I took lessons, and I've always been intrigued by the didgeridoo. I love the sound of it. It's almost as if, in my opinion, the sound goes through me. Does that make sense?
It certainly does.
It resonates through my body. Have you heard other people say that?
Yes. fact, my girlfriend was telling me last night as I was playing it in the bathroom. And she was in the bathtub.
Ooh.
And she was like, wow. She was like, that just went like through me.
It does.
And in a bathroom, the acoustics are incredible.
It's a powerful sound. In fact, you're new to this area, aren't you?
Yeah.
Where are you from, Mark?
My last place I was staying is Southern Oregon. But I originally learned this in California, Southern California, in Joshua Tree.
So you've been coming up the coast.
Yeah.
Well, are you familiar with the Seattle Center?
Yeah, I've played there a few times.
Okay, there's an area in the Seattle Center, and have you heard of the Folklife Festival?
Yeah, I played down there.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay, well, do you know have you been to that certain area that's sort of by that theater that has, that the sound kind of bounces off the walls? And I know a lot of didgeridoo players go there for the Folklife Festival.
No,
you haven't
I haven't
been to
to
our
that
Folklife
spot.
Festival. Yeah, you'll have to see it. It's pretty amazing. So, how would you teach somebody? Are there any prerequisites, or you said you've been playing it for 10 years. What, did you play a musical instrument before that?
This is actually my first real wind instrument. I played many years at guitar, a little violin, piano. I've gone to college and studied music. So actually, I think I'm bringing a lot of musical principles to the didgeridoo because it really can be a unique musical instrument. And so people are using this in orchestral settings, with Celtic music, to trance dance music.
Wow.
And so it's finding its way into so many niches: world music, Eastern Indian. It's basically as one note, as a droning note, that so many different styles of music are finding that they can layer their own unique sound. For instance, bagpipes to sitars.
With a sitar, wouldn't that be something? Now, is it becoming more popular? Is that what you're telling me?
It's grown incredibly in popularity for the last probably 30 years. It was virtually almost unknown.
And then the history of this, I was always told Aborigines from Australia, but I think you're going to tell us the truth, right?
Yeah.
What's the truth?
That's to speculate, but the rumor is it's about 40,000 years ago is when the first didgeridoo was found, created. We actually don't totally know because that information is almost kept secret to the clans in Aboriginal Australia. And they pass it down through their oral tradition only. And through the didgeridoo, they have songs about the didgeridoo and all the stories. And you almost have to really, really be in close to find out about these stories.
Now, didn't you tell me that it might have a relationship with Africa, though, too?
Yes. Somebody who I was playing recently told me that its real origin was Africa. And I don't know about this, but I'm thinking 40,000 years ago, the continents were a little closer together. And Africa and Australia, I think, were pretty close together. And it is possible that there's a big connection.
Well, now, weren't the original ones just old trees and they'd let ants hollow them out or something like that? And do I have wrong information?
Yeah, actually, it's termites.
Oh, termites,
And they don't even let them. The termites love the inner core of the eucalyptus tree. And it's usually the younger trees. So they just go and just eat out pretty much the entire inside of a eucalyptus.
So the original didges were eucalyptus trees? Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't realize that. So they probably were the first instrument, other than drums.
Probably one of the very first instruments ever.
Yeah. So now, what about these around us? Do you have any stories to tell us about some of these?
Yes.
I'll be glad to hold that if it's in your way. Okay.
For instance,
this one looks real African.
This is made out of yucca, found in the deserts, California, Arizona. This actually is a unique piece because it comes apart.
Oh.
And the maker is an old friend of mine.
How handy is that?
So this can be tucked into a bag.
That's a good point. Is it hard carrying around one of these great big ones?
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely something to be aware of. You're hitting signs above your head sometimes, and
when
people are asking me, what is that?
Yeah, when I met you, is this the one you had?
Yeah.
He had it in his bag, and right away I kind of recognized what it was, even though it was covered up. But didn't you say that sometimes people think you're carrying a gun or?
Yeah, sometimes. Is that a musket or a rifle?
I
Or,
don't know
or
what's
a
in that
club?
bag. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So this would be handier if you could compact it. So are you going to play a bit with this one?
Yeah.
Yucca? Okay.
Yeah, and this one actually has a little top part you can take off, so I can actually get 2 notes out of this didgeridoo. So we have E, it's actually marked for me, and I think this is D.
Oh.
So I was playing actually with the band the other day, and they said, hey, we're playing in D. And I said, oh,
Oh
I got
my
one in D. So I
gosh.
just jumped right in. It didn't even matter what kind of music. It was actually like a pirate shanty song, and I just
Yeah.
played this didgeridoo with it, and it sounded
Oh my
incredible.
goodness. Was that up in Seattle probably?
No, it was in a small town called Takilma, Oregon,
Okay.
down by the river.
Okay.
So this is yucca.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. I saw a big difference in the sounds.
Yeah.
I feel like this was a lot lower, deeper, right?
Yeah, technically the note on this bigger instrument that I originally played is a higher note than
Oh.
this. This is a D and this larger one's an F sharp.
Oh.
But because this was so big, that first one I played, in the big bottom, there's all these tiny little factors that go into making the sound. So it's actually a higher pitch than this, but its sound is bigger. Which is why I like it, because it actually has
Yeah.
it cuts through because it's a high sound, but it's low too, so you
Yeah,
can feel it.
interesting. Is that the one you were playing last night when your girlfriend said the sound went right through her?
No, I was playing this instrument back here in the far end.
Oh, that
Really
dark
got
one?
some pretty nice vibrations in that one.
Really? Maybe later we can play that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So if a person wanted a didgeridoo, I mean, you can't just walk into a store and buy one of these.
It depends
you?
what store you go into.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
You don't have to order them online?
Not really. There's a store called, it's right next to Pike's Place in Seattle.
Oh, okay.
And it's, forget, it has a really exotic name. Lark of the Moon, I think is the name. And that's on First Avenue, and you can go down there. And they got a few didgeridoos down there. There's
yeah,
definitely some people in Portland. I know there's actually a whole shop, pretty much, mostly didgeridoos.
Really? Okay.
I don't know the name because I'm not really familiar with the area too much.
What about lessons? Is it hard to learn to do this? Could a person learn this on their own?
Totally, a person could learn it on their own. There's a lot of resources on the internet.
Okay.
It takes a lot of dedication, and you have to supply your own inspiration sometimes.
Oh, really?
But I recommend, yeah.
Well, I hear it's circular breathing. So would you mind giving us a quick lesson on just how to do this?
Sure.
I wouldn't mind trying to learn. Although I tried
that's-
before and I didn't do very well. I thought that circular breathing was kind of hard.
Yeah, it can be tricky. I think we'll do this didgeridoo.
Okay.
And basically, what I'm doing in this didgeridoo is I'm kind of buzzing my lips, keeping a tight seal,
Okay.
and using the control of my breath to give it a sustained tone.
Okay.
Which
And what was this about?
that's just something some of the Aborigines do,
Oh.
and some people that play sometimes on the streets of Sydney, Australia, and Byron Bay. And I even have incorporated it. I've seen people do it, and it just feels like I get more in touch with nature. I'm doing like bird sounds.
So it doesn't really change the sound then?
No, but it's almost like
Part
I'm
of the
orchestrating
presentation.
it, conducting.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So I kind of do this. This is the symbol of a kangaroo, doing, 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 and then goo, goo, doing, doing, goo, goo. So you can kind of, when you learn this language, you can start, incorporating the kinesthetics of the body. I think actually do help you get a little more music out of the didgeridoo. Sometimes you get stuck and you're just playing the same old things. So
that just
changing
helps
it up just helps break it up. And
okay.
so this circular breathing is
Yeah.
it's kind of a trick because you're going to think you're inhaling and exhaling at the same time,
Ooh.
but you're actually not. You're taking a quick sniff in your nose.
Oh.
And you really only have like a second or a microsecond to really do that.
Okay.
Your cheeks actually have to squeeze out and create that buzzing sound with the cheeks. So you're actually not exhaling. You're squeezing your cheeks almost like a spit. It sounds a lot better in the didgeridoo.
You mean that little spitting sound you just made comes out? That's exactly the sound you're making.
Pretty much.
comes
It's a
out,
little
wow.
different. You kind of have to feel it out. It does take some working.
Okay.
So you might be like, just, you got to find the really sweet spot of your didgeridoo. Give it the right amount of air. I mean, it's also developing your cheeks to kind of get a subtle control.
Okay.
And
But
that's
you're breathing
the
in
main
through your
trick.
nose, and you say you're not constantly circular breathing. You're actually, because I thought that's what it was. So maybe it'll be easier this way if I. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm taking a quick sniff of air, and then I
Okay.
play on my own. Then I switch right back to my lungs. So, and then I know I'm going to run out of air soon. So I'm going to have to take another breath. And I'm going to actually show you how I can take lots
Okay.
of sniffs of air too. So I'm going to do this signal to show you when I'm breathing in my nose.
Okay.
So you get an idea.
Now, is that tiring to do?
It's managing oxygen, taking in oxygen. You have to develop your diaphragm, which is like the
so
muscle.
You're breathing down here too, because you're not gasping for air
No.
when you're done playing, and I would think maybe you would be.
Yeah. Well, when I was first started out, I was gasping for air.
So it's about managing the air. So it's the nose, the diaphragm, and kind of squishing your mouth to the side.
Yeah, well, I play out of the side of my mouth because I play a little bit more percussive style, and that seems to, the tighter I can get my lips, I can get a lot of really tricky stuff out that I can if I just come straight on. But a very famous Aboriginal performer, he said, you wouldn't talk out of the side of your mouth.
No.
So, in a
shouldn't
sense,
be
you'd probably have more power
if you went
when you
straight
go
through the
straight
middle.
through. And I try not to play out of the middle because I kind of can lose it. I built up my sound to be out of the side, and a lot of traditional people do play out of the sides. And
Maybe it's like, was Louis Armstrong the guy that used to puff up his cheeks when he played, and they always said that he shouldn't do that or something?
oh yeah, I bet you.
Yeah, and look how
He was.
and
I didn't know they
was a
told
pretty
him
good
that.
horn. I had heard that years ago. Maybe I heard it wrong, but he was pretty darn good horn player. So yeah. Now, who actually taught you? Did you teach yourself then? Did you read books or?
No, I taught myself to do a lot of things. I got some CDs, how to play the didgeridoo.
Oh, okay, and they taught you about breathing through your nose.
A little bit. I had pointers, and some of this, actually I had a few of the techniques down, but it wasn't enough. So I actually got one of those like $5 PVCs that I
Really?
made. I went out and played for a month straight at the sunset every night in Joshua Tree, California. And after about 30 days, it hit. I resolved to learn it and dedicate every day an hour. And in 30 days, after a
30
foundation
days.
was built up, it got easier. And I didn't have anybody teaching me. I just sat out there and I was like, I really have to figure this out. I don't know what's going on, but I know somehow I've got to get this together. And
Man, but you said you kind of had a history of music, but still not in instruments.
No.
To this. Yeah. So this is the type of pipe. Would you mind playing with this
Sure.
or not? Just
Sure, I
showing
wouldn't
us.
mind.
And the wet is just water, I promise you. Okay, we only have 3 more minutes, so maybe
Okay.
a little bit of a beginning lesson on that.
okay, this is the sliding didgeridoo.
And this is what you actually learned on, something similar.
Something similar like that.
Now, the smaller diameter makes it easier, doesn't it? So if we had a child out there that was interested or somebody that wanted to start, it'd be easier with the smaller mouthpiece, right?
Yeah, for a child. You want it about 1.25 inches.
Oh, about 1.25 inches. Well, I've seen they have wax that they put on some. I don't think yours have wax on them, but
No.
why do they do that? Why do they put wax on the
It makes it smoother and softer, more
But you-
comfortable.
But you don't have to do
No,
it.
you
It's
don't.
just for feel. Okay, yeah. Now, we're getting ready to wrap this up, but before I do, I have to ask you, are there local didgeridoo players?
There is. There's a group you'll probably hear about on screen. RaincityRhythms.com has links to getting to the Didgeridoo Circle, where you'll find other players and ways to learn.
Okay.
And you can link up, and I can teach anybody that's interested as well.
And that website's on the ending credits. And so if you're out there and you're a player, we're really trying to get some players together. So is that right?
Yeah.
So that's what they should do. Go to that website. And I think we're going to close with you playing, if that's all right. And then
Yeah.
they're going to show the website over the screen. And if you're interested, make contact. Even if you don't play the didgeridoo and you want to play it, make contact. So hopefully we'll get a bunch of you guys together. And well, they're going to close, but may I play something?
Yeah.
May I play these?
Yeah.
What are these?
These are Bilma clap sticks.
Okay, they're heavy.
Yeah.
And they're what wood are these? Some indigenous wood or what is this?
No, that's a cherry wood.
Okay.
Man in Seattle made.
Okay.
And I'm going to do some didgeridoo and throw my voice, my lips, my tongue. It's all created with your own mouth. So.
Okay. And I want to say goodbye to our viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for our hardworking crew. And goodbye, Mr. Feeney.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.